Over the top with Chad and Tony, talking about new movies and wrestling. I might just drop the team hating on me. Gene, DJ keeps the party going. Brandon E brings the heat. We don't know how to speak. Running wild on you, brother. We're over the top. Rocking it back to the vintage scene. Thursdays at 7 p.m. Central. With epic thumbnails from the vintage of Bossy. Gonna bring you the best. Legends you remember from the ring and silver screen. We're over the top. Get ready for a good time.
Bow! What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Chad Arms, a.k.a. Chad DiBiase, 1130.
Hello, once again, my name is Tony, aka Friday the 14th.
That boy good. That boy good. That boy good. That boy got range. That boy got range. That
Follow
boy.
that up.
Hey, you're welcome on your ears there, listeners.
You're welcome. No.
Come get you some.
What's going on, everyone? I'm Hot Mike Chance.
Show the shirt.
Ooh, baby.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy BJ, the DJ.
And I'm the tower of power, too sweet to be sour. I'm the American dream, Brandon Evans, baby.
Brandon
Love
Easy.
it.
Brandon Easy.
Brandon E been
And
bringing
we are-
pain since 2005.
For the 05.
Shout out to MySpace.
Shout out MySpace.
And we're back with another wrestling pay-per-view.
We're back, man. We're back with another one. This is episode, what is it?
117?
17. Holy shit.
Jesus
We
Christ,
filmed a
Latter-day
lot of
Saints.
episodes today. So we're back. We're back with another pay-per-view themed episode. 2 weeks ago, we did Let's Talk WrestleMania 3.
Yep.
We appreciate the support on that. This is actually the one that
We were really looking forward to it.
we were looking forward to it.
We were really looking forward to it.
Very nostalgic. WrestleMania 6.
Probably, is this the first, like, WrestleMania? I think we talked about
Out of
this
the
2 weeks
country.
ago. Yeah, it was the first WrestleMania out of the country.
Skydome in Toronto, yep.
But, like, as a WrestleMania as a whole, is this the one you first remember?
Absolutely.
That stood out to y'all?
That's for our age, absolutely.
I remember
Yeah.
the tape was yellow
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
Like when you
Coliseum
go to rent
home video,
it.
man.
It was
Young
yellow.
Edge was in the crowd watching it.
Yep.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
cool to see.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Ultimate Challenge was the
Oh,
tagline with
God.
this one. 67,678 people were in attendance for this.
Yep. In
It was
Toronto.
huge. You had a young Edge in the crowd.
Yep.
You know, with it being in Toronto, him being from Canada. But there were 15 matches on this.
Sheeshamania.
And I want to say there was 16 because one of them was a dark match with my favorite wrestler.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
15 matches. One of them was a dark match. And luckily we didn't get blessed with Paul Roma and Brooklyn Brawler and Paul Roma wins by pinfall, unfortunately. So anybody that hasn't already seen this, fuck Paul Roma.
He beat Abe Knuckleball Shorts.
Paul Roma sucks.
Yeah,
There's
Paul
a
Roma.
video floating around of him in a gym saying Paul Roma still got it and he's fighting some guy. And that's all cool and dandy and shit.
Seven
but
I hate
people.
him.
Yeah.
Paul Roma, you still fucking sucked as a wrestler.
You hurt people.
And you thought you was way better than you were, and you're an asshole.
Facts.
And power and glory, nobody gave a fuck about glory. Everybody liked power. Hercules, Hernandez carried y'all. You
That's
just
sad.
made everybody not like y'all with your sheer pathetic
Schmugness.
existence.
Yeah.
And you can't wrestle, Paul Roma. You can whoop my ass. Who gives a shit, Paul Roma? You know what that gets you? Nothing.
It got you on the dark match of WrestleMania.
You're a
6.
dark match at fucking WrestleMania 6. It was 61 matches and you didn't make the cut. What does that tell you?
Against the Brooklyn Brawler. Everybody beats the Brooklyn Brawler. It's not a feat that Paul Roma beat the Brooklyn Brawler.
why was
You
that a match?
mush mouth, mediocre fucking bitch.
Mush mouth.
Slick back, wannabe soprano, pizza
Italian.
eating son of a bitch, dude. I love pizza, but fuck Paul Roma.
I like Roma's pizza.
I
Yeah.
like them corners. Them corner
I like
slices.
Roma tomatoes.
But fuck Paul Roma.
Paul Roma.
Terrible match.
Don't ever make me pull for Brooklyn Brawler. You did when I saw
Hey,
that.
that says a lot.
He was a 4 horseman.
No, he wasn't.
Not by choice, by Ric Flair. though.
God.
But yeah, that was we didn't get to see that one, unfortunately. It may have been on a
Not
Titan
fortunately.
video,
Fortunately,
No,
we did.
Coliseum video, whatever. But this is what I remember kicking off the show, obviously, because you know. One thing I will say about this back in the day, I love the theme music for WrestleMania back then.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know, it gets you in that vibe, bro.
Jimmy
and
Hart,
like the build up to it, and then you start the show off with Rick Martin. This is when he was the model.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He had the arrogance.
Yeah, he had the spray can of arrogance.
And then you had my dog, Coco Beware, dude. He had the crowd hype, boy.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. He had him rolling.
Who determined what the smell of arrogance is like?
It smelled like Paul Roma's ass. Because he's an arrogant
Pulled it
motherfucker.
straight out of there.
I hate him.
This match was a barn burner, and I will stand corrected. In the last episode, I said that he hasn't wrestled a match over 5 minutes. This match was 5:31. Can anybody guess who won between Coco Beware and whoever he fought? The other one.
Exactly.
The other one.
I love
By
Coco Beware,
submission.
but he never won a match in WWE
Poor guy.
ever.
By Boston
Like,
Crab.
remember what his Boston Crab. There you
By
go.
Boston Crab.
He's like the only person that ever won a match in the Hall of Fame. That's just,
But yeah, I mean,
it's true.
that's when the model was starting to get that push because this was 1990.
Yep.
So the model.
What push though?
He
Like,
turned off Tito
He was
He
getting
was
Santana.
the
push back then, bro.
That was a good character though.
He was a good heel.
Yeah, he's getting
But
that
he never
Intercontinental push.
never won a title or anything.
Not
he
a
had some-
title,
but he
but I
had
mean,
some good feuds of that one
he
with
was
him and
going-
Jake the Snake.
Yeah,
with
him
the
and Jake.
blindfold. He had some good stuff.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's what kicked it off. And then you
Him
had
and Shawn Michaels had a match too, WrestleMania. Yeah.
Yep. You had Demolition, who I've always been a fan of Demolition.
Demolition.
Whatever inclination it was, whether it was the three of them,
Yeah.
it was. But this one was Axe and Smash. This was before Crush came in.
Yeah.
OG
Yeah.
Demolition.
You had Demolition, Axe and Smash against the Colossal Connection, which was Andre and Haku.
How far forward, how cool.
Yeah.
We're going to be a tag team.
Tag team titles too.
I love it.
Because you sent the opening promo in the group text. Like
Oh
they had a
yeah,
promo
they tried to
before-
time their talking, and it was not timed.
Haku's side eye that he gives Andre is just
Because
freaking-
neither one of them could speak
No,
English
can't at all.
barely, and you're
And you
trying
had
to get them to
Bobby
be-
right there to speak for him.
Exactly.
Right.
Just let that man cook
I
every
don't
time.
get that.
Just
This
let
is-
Bobby take care
every
of
time.
it.
This is clearly when Andre's on the end of his
Absolutely.
rope. This was
Yeah.
what this, because obviously Axe and Smash go over and win the titles, which the crowd went crazy.
Pop.
They were so over, bro.
Yeah,
Sure
dude,
was.
I love their intro.
Everything about Demolition was badass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone gave them crap for being like knockoffs for the Road Warriors. I don't think so.
It
whatsoever.
took me as an
saw that,
adult.
bro.
It took me as an adult to even realize that. 'Cause I said, when we
I
were
never
kids, I
thought
just
that.
never.
Yeah,
I don't think so. I think it was two completely different.
Yeah, I just thought they were
teams.
bad. They were
I
just
thought
badass. I love their
They were
finisher.
from
like
Mad
when
Max.
the
They're
slow
also
from
Minnesota
All
boys.
Minnesota guys. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, Barry Darso, dude.
Yep, Barry, yeah.
AKA the fucking what's his
Repo
name?
Man.
Repo Man, dude.
Repo Man.
And then this match you had, I guess, as a favorite, the face turn for Andre, the final face turn for Andre at the end of the match and everything.
Where he completely missed Bobby Heenan.
Yes,
Bless
yeah.
his heart. He was trying not to actually smack him for his hit.
Yeah.
I missed him
He
with
didn't
the
even hit it at
punch.
But then Bobby goes backstage after and says, "Oh, I don't fucking need you anyway, Andre. I'll start a new Heenan family or whatever."
Yeah,
he said.
yeah.
But it was a cool little 10-minute.
yeah.
match.
Was that the final? Was that Andre's?
WrestleMania 7 was the last appearance.
Okay,
He
that's
had-
his last.
Was that with
But
the
that's when he barely
Bushwhackers?
could walk.
Yeah,
though.
he couldn't move.
He
That's
went-
a year later, man.
Did he come out with the Bushwhackers?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Oh, okay. Yep. Yeah. Okay.
And what I'll say too that I noticed all through this WrestleMania, they were promoting WrestleMania 7, and it was going to be the biggest. It was going to originally be in the LA Stadium.
Yeah.
100-something thousand people, whatever, and then it ended up going into that small one from that was 15,000-20,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when nobody's buying tickets because of the storyline.
Right.
But yeah, this was a cool spot.
Yeah, like you said, that pop when Demolition won was a huge pop.
Yeah, and next up you get Earthquake with Jimmy Hart. Now this is when they were really pushing Earthquake really hard.
Yeah.
Where he was sitting on everybody and breaking everybody's ribs and sending them to the hospital. He fought Hercules, and of course he went over in that. Obviously, I always loved Earthquake.
Yeah,
Like,
John-
he scared the shit out of me.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they had to make. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Hercules was a big, muscular dude. Like, he couldn't really work, but I mean, he was a viable opponent for someone the size of like Earthquake.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Be honest with you too. Every time Hercules came out is when I went and got a pizza roll break.
No, for sure. He was
Trash.
I put him and Warlord in the same.
Yes.
thing.
Yeah.
The most roided
Barbarian
up
could
most
go.
two roided up dudes you'll ever see in your
Barbarian
life.
could go though.
Yeah, Barbarian
He could
gets
real
passed.
wrestle.
Barbarian gets passed.
He gets mentioned on a lot of lists of like
Badasses.
Yeah,
Oh, you can tell, bro.
Yeah.
He looks like he's cut from that Haku cloth.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they ran
Yeah.
together. So,
Yes.
yeah.
But like Earthquake going over, and of course he squashed Hercules literally. But that's not the last time that you see him in this WrestleMania. This was his match, but he comes out with Jimmy Hart and gets over. This next one is when you had Brutus the Barber and Mr. Perfect, and when Mr. Perfect had the Genius, who I just despise.
I can't believe that Perfect put Brutus Beefcake over. Like,
And he was doing like
It's weird, man.
he was overselling in that match.
That was
Big.
Hogan's boy, man.
Yeah, for sure.
But
Perfect was like that though,
Brutus
bro.
Hogan's boy.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I think that was Perfect. Kind of throwing a little bit of not shade, but like kind of like what Michaels did in
what
2005 with
Michaels
Hogan.
did. Yeah.
at
Exact same
SummerSlam.
thing. That's what I was gonna say.
He was making Brutus. He made Brutus look like $1 million, dude. And then of course Brutus goes over, and then he tries to cut Perfect's hair, and Perfect gets away.
Yeah.
But he
You're
don't.
not going to cut his ramen noodles.
No, bro. Them rubber noodles,
It's not happening.
just like it. And then of course the Genius gets his hair cut. But
Genius. Was
Again-
such a terrible idea.
we're 4 or 5 matches in, and there hadn't been a good wrestling match yet.
No, not even with Mr. Perfect in the ring.
That's wild.
There's only so much you can do with Brutus the Barber.
No, yeah, exactly. I
He
mean,
is trash.
And then we get to the classic WWE racist
of
undertone.
all time.
This is the most
Of all
racist
time.
WWE ever got.
Of all time.
Roddy
Yes.
Piper and Bad News Brown. Now, this is when Roddy Piper was cutting promos with half black face and half like his face, and it was like he would talk like this, and then he would turn, and then he painted his whole body half black.
Yeah.
And I never why did he do that?
Oh, you just know, I'm just gonna go for it. I'm a racist motherfucker. All right.
That's Vince.
Now, I like Piper. He said it took him weeks to get that
Get
black
all that
paint
shit
off
off
of
of
him.
And they did. Here's the thing: they did all that.
He's always, when he's talking, he puts his little finger in his ear, and he's just always saying,
Yeah, he talked about how long it took to get the paint
I
off there.
didn't
And
understand. That's the one promo of Piper. I didn't understand anything he was talking
I
about.
think Piper was on one back then at this time. This time
Piper liked the
frame,
booger sugar.
because you got to think.
A lot of those '80s wrestlers liked the booger sugar.
Well, you got to think. The next year is that when he put over Perfect or Brett? He put over Brett at one of the WrestleMania.
That was WrestleMania 8.
8. Oh, so 2 years later. Okay. So WrestleMania 6. Yeah. So
Only
he.
time he ever took a pinfall
No, for sure.
was WrestleMania 8.
But like this whole thing that they did with him and Bad News Brown, all this racial undertones, and they did.
it
Did you know what the
didn't make
payoff
any
was?
sense.
Double count out.
Yeah.
Double count out. They never had another match. They never
No,
did anything
it was
after
just.
that.
It was like you was
short
just
match.
being racist to do it.
And
it
then when
was
they
a
didn't do, I think that after that, Mr. Man said, "You know what? We're just gonna wipe this whole thing out and bring Sapa Simba in.
Yeah, let's just double down.
Yeah, it was a short match.
Make
too,
America
wasn't it?
great
6
again,
minutes?
y'all. Make
6
America
minutes.
great again. Make it great again."
It was
Dude.
that match was 6 minutes and 48 seconds, and the Brutus Beefcake and Mr. Perfect match was a minute longer.
Cray
Like,
cray.
it's-
And what?
Insane.
Here's the thing too that bothers me. Going back and watching this, you finally get to a match with the Hart Foundation. So Brett and Jim the Anvil. I love their tag matches. They're going against the Bolsheviks though, which is Nikolai and Boris Zukov. So like I'm like
Tag team of all time.
of all time. Bless Nikolai Volkov's heart. Worst wrestler, talker, funny without trying to be. This match was 19 seconds, bro.
They sung that. He sung that. They sung that
They,
anthem.
yeah, they just wasted Brett and Anvil that night, bro.
Oh, that's when that's when Hacksaw comes down to the ring and everything.
I wouldn't doubt it. I mean,
There's a
I think
payoff.
so.
Yeah, Hacksaw comes down to the ring with his little flag on the 2x4.
Just the
and
way
all
to
that
get
shit.
WrestleMania.
19 seconds is all Brett got at the 90 at WrestleMania 6. Him and Jim.
Right after that, though, was about right when Brett started taking off.
It
Yeah.
was for sure.
Yeah.
19 seconds.
19 seconds, bro. That's it. That's all they did.
I remember the Nikolai Volkov. Remember the thumb wrestlers back in the day
course.
and everything. I remember he had like a eraser head, and I just rubbed it up against the concrete, and balled that motherfucker out.
You just never heard anybody in life goes, "Man, I can't wait for that Bolsheviks match."
Dude, you couldn't. It's not, but it's like that's all y'all didn't have nothing else you could have done with Bret Hart and Jim the Anvil. You give them 19 seconds against the Bolsheviks, and then the next match is the Barbarian with Bobby Heenan against Tito Santana. and it got almost 5 minutes.
Wow, that should have been wasted save for like the primetime show they had back.
That's what I'm saying,
It
bro.
should not
They
been on
just-
WrestleMania.
But that's what. There's so many matches that were on this
that's
card.
the biggest payday of the year. They just try to.
They
include
wanted to make sure everybody got a piece.
Yeah.
And going back to the Barbarian, of course, he won over Tito. Tito was getting. I mean, that's when he was arriba. He did on the whole-
Yeah.
The El Matador.
God, poor
But-
Tito.
There's so many tag teams during that time that could have had a better match with the Hart Foundation.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
This so
And this next match, though.
this is what pissed me off about this show.
Oh man.
Going
Just
back
so
and
bad.
watching this match, so it's a mixed tag match: Dusty Rhodes and Sapphire versus Macho Man and Queen Sherry, right? And Miss Elizabeth is with Dusty Rhodes and
Shout
Sapphire.
out, Sherry.
When you talk about you have Dusty Rhodes and Macho Man, two of the greatest wrestlers, workers of all time. You can argue.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
for big men, Dusty's one of the best workers.
Facts.
And you've made Dusty Rhodes just this complete joke of a fucking polka dotted. They're just making fun of him.
Yep.
And then you've got Macho Man, who just had the best match of any of the WrestleManias up to that point.
Yeah.
And he's in this weird fucking storyline with Dusty Rhodes, and it's a mixed tag match. It's just a joke, bro.
Yeah.
Sapphire's like booty bumping people, and
she gets the pin
she gets the pinfall in it.
over
It just,
Dusty
over-
Dusty Rhodes.
That's what I'm saying. Then that
Sapphire
dancing in the
gets
ring.
the pin.
It's knowing what Dusty Rhodes did in WCW and NWA, and then what Macho Man had done up until that point. It just sucked that this is what they were
What was
doing.
Macho? What did Macho do the year before?
WrestleMania 5. That was Mega Powers Explode, bro.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's what I'm saying.
He had his
He
best
went-
match that next
But
year,
look,
though.
what happened?
Wow.
The next year he had his best
Hogan's
match,
He
done
though.
with
fought,
it?
he fought Hogan. Hogan
Yep.
was done with him. Look what happened.
No, but 7 was his best match, though.
With Flair.
Yep.
No, that's 8.
7
Ultimate
was
Warrior.
with Warrior.
That match was that shit.
Oh,
That
you're
was-
right,
That
yeah.
was. That's when he hit him with the scepter.
Yep.
That match was
Yeah.
that was
Macho King.
Yeah, because this was much.
Well, he hit him with the scepter when he
It was
at
a
Rumble
retirement
against
match
Slaughter,
when he
and
had
that fought the
he had
match.
to retire.
Because
Him and
7.
Elizabeth
What was the main
reunited.
event? 7.
Hogan and Slaughter.
Hogan and Slaughter. Yep. You're right. Wow.
That's crazy though. Like Mega Powers Explode the year before that, and now you're in a mixed.
Tag match.
Anyway,
With
of course,
Dusty-
Dusty Rhodes and them won, but it was just it was a
But
joke.
that's what I'm
lust
saying.
in his eyes.
You can't give Dusty a pin at WrestleMania, but you give the pin to Sapphire.
That's what I'm saying, bro. They
It
He
did.
was
must. Dusty must have had they must have paid him a bag for him to go. Because I mean, we've heard over the past like couple years now. Cody has mentioned how irresponsible Dusty was with money.
Yeah.
So I wonder
went up
if he
bad,
went to
man.
WWE knowing he was going to get made a mockery of because he needed the money.
I'm sure.
I just
Yeah.
like, it's
And
just
I'm
so
sure he got
silly, man,
paid.
that they do stuff like that.
Yeah. But I'm just a common man.
Dope theme song.
And I
Bro.
wonder if because it also had to do with him being such a big booker in WCW.
Yeah.
Prior
Oh, yeah,
to,
it was-
when he came to WWE, Vince is like, yeah, he's mine. I'm
Yeah.
gonna
Oh,
ruin
we're
it.
gonna make him work for this
Absolutely.
bullshit.
Yeah.
And then the next was another tag match that was a waste. You had the Orient Express, which I liked them back in the
I
day.
did too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, Pat Tanaka and Sato, and then they had Mr. Fuji with them, and against the Rockers.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is a good match.
Sean and Marty.
My
But-
favorite tag team of all time.
Rockers, sure.
Such a
Bro.
great tag.
But
team.
it was just a waste. Like it was that they did it was like this weird count out. It was like a 7-minute match. They did the same weird shit to the Rockers at SummerSlam '90 against Power and Glory. Fuck you, Paul Roma. Well, they hurt one of them's leg the whole time, and it was just one of I think they hurt Sean's leg, and he didn't even fight. But I guess that's when they were built. Was that when they were building up for them to split up?
Yes.
Because they split up on the barbershop in '91, right?
Yeah.
So that makes
Yep.
sense.
Yeah.
But like, this
But I
was
mean-
another wasted match, though.
I mean, honestly, I would have rather got the Rockers and the Hart Foundation.
Yep.
Oh
That's what I'm
yeah.
saying.
Oh yeah.
Or the
Oh yeah.
Orient Express
Or the
or
yeah.
the Hart
or-
Foundation. If you're going to like, and then you got the Bolsheviks. What are they going to do? They don't need to do nothing.
I mean, let them have the Orient Express. Like that's the popcorn match. You know what I mean?
Bolsheviks out
You're
here.
halfway through. I
Worst
mean, you're
tag
10
team
matches
ever.
in at
Dude,
this point.
I'm telling you though, the worst match on this card
Oh.
is Jim Duggan and Dino Bravo. They fought next, and when I tell you it was awful, I watched it today. I rewatched it today. This dude, just they can't. I mean, just imagine who the wrestlers are.
Yeah. It's Hacksaw. As over as Hacksaw was, he was not good. In the
I
ring.
don't get it. I don't understand.
It's just America.
Dude, I
America.
loved Hacksaw Jim Duggan when I was a kid. I was walking around crossing my eyes, not even trying to. They were just
You know, we all had when
I
you
had
went
the
to
little fake cushiony
the phone,
2x4.
the phone 2x4
I never
and everything.
got it
Yeah.
about him. He
It was
just
just a character.
Hello.
That was
But,
it.
but again,
There's more character.
4
driven,
minutes.
man.
They got a 4-minute match, and Brett and them got 19 seconds. I'm sure Brett's has told everybody about it
Dino
too.
was gone by then. Close, not long after that. Unfortunately.
Yeah, but see, bringing back Earthquake to make him look like a beast, He came in. So Hacksaw hits Dino Bravo with the 2x4 and pins him. Well, as soon as the match is over, Earthquake snatches up Duggan and sits on him like 3 times and squashes the shit out of him. Because again, they're building up Hogan and him in SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Jim Duggan had a career like with the mid '90s in WCW. Like he just didn't go away.
No.
And then when like early 2000s WWE, he'd pop up randomly and come out there and have matches in sweatpants.
Yep.
And like, wow,
There's always been 1 or 2 of those that just kind of
stuck
around.
And back to the semi-racist. Well, this isn't even semi-racist. You had Ted DiBiase with Virgil
With all the way racist.
against Jake the Snake. Now, this was for the $1 million title.
Why though? Why?
It was just what it. But
What was Jake Roberts going to do with the $1 million?
well,
title?
you knew he wasn't going. Looking back, you knew he never had a chance to
Pom-pom
win it. Yeah. He would have gave it to fucking Damien to. I don't know, but like that match is for the title, and Jake gets counted out.
Yeah.
I'm like, why even put the title?
Is
on?
Virgil the only person to ever pin him for that belt?
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Nobody else beat him for that belt at all.
You're right.
Virgil's solo wrestling career is one of the greatest runs ever.
One of the low-key best theme songs, too.
It is.
That theme song kind of hit, man.
That meat sauce.
Dude, when he finally stood up to $1 Million Man's racist tendencies and finally said, you know what, fuck you, bitch, let's go.
That was a pop.
Dude, Virgil got one of the biggest pops that you could get back then.
He borrowed Danny Davis's pants.
That's funny.
Meat sauce, baby. But yeah, Ted DiBiase ended up retaining the $1 million title, obviously. But they got 12 minutes for that. That's
crazy.
That's crazy.
And it seemed like it lasted forever too. It was just
12 minutes as a kid is.
I mean,
forever.
honestly though, take away the antics of the $1 million title. Ted DiBiase versus Jake Roberts would have cooked.
For sure.
Oh, yeah.
Would've
For
cooked.
sure.
For sure, dude.
Because they both could go.
Yep.
And then you had my homies.
Here we go.
The Twin Towers fighting against each other. And I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. I love these dudes as a tag team. Now they're fighting each other. They got less than 2 minutes. Boss Man beat Akeem and squashed him. With Slick.
Yeah, they should have gave that like a legit.
they
2 minutes, bruh.
Dude, yeah, it makes no sense.
No,
It
at
just
all.
makes sense.
But you gave 12 minutes to.
Yeah, it don't make
Now,
no sense.
how
man.
long was the actual Jim Duggan and Dino Bravo match? Was it 4:15 with the additional earthquake?
No, bro. They gave
Wow.
him 4 minutes. That's just till the bell rang.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
4 minutes, 15
that's
seconds.
crazy.
It was like a 10-minute segment because he was squashing him. He elbowed him a few times. Then he sat on him.
That's crazy.
But like, as much as I love the Twin Towers, and I thought they were such a good
Yeah.
heel team in the WWF.
Yeah.
They should have got way more of this than Bossman just squashing Akeem.
Yeah, give him
Because after
5.
that, did Akeem even really do anything much? I mean,
disappeared.
I think he went to WCW as one-man game.
One-man game.
Yeah.
that'd have been 91.
U.S.
Yeah.
U.S. champion there. He had a
Yeah.
nice little run in WCW.
Yeah.
And then you had
Such a waste.
another
Such
one
a
that
waste in
was.
WWF.
You had Rick Rude with Bobby Heenan and Jimmy Snuka. Just a
Why couldn't we get Rick Rude in perfect? Why couldn't we get that?
Real life
You
best
couldn't have two
friends.
heels
both
going.
heels.
You couldn't have two heels going up against.
Well,
each
you could
other.
have easily turned. Well, you can't turn perfect heel.
no, you couldn't. And you
'Cause
definitely
both
couldn't
of them
turn
were-
Rick Rude.
both
heel.
of them were-
heel for a few more years.
I hate
Still a
Hulk
few more
Hogan.
years.
I
Yeah.
hate him.
But Rick, dude, I love.
But
Rick
dude, they
Rude.
say he's a bad dude.
We have
behind
just
the
talked.
scenes.
We have just
Rick
went
Rude,
over.
yeah.
Oh yeah, there's
dude.
many people that said they didn't.
Oh, yeah.
He was on that haiku level.
Yeah, they
of-
said
Who?
he was-
Rick
Rude.
Rude. Oh yeah, dude. I watched some of his like ECW moments. He was foul, dude.
Yeah.
Like, this day and age, he'd get canceled quickly.
Yep.
Yeah, I was
Francine
always
hates him.
Yeah.
She hates him.
I was always a Rude fan.
Yeah,
I like
he looks
him
like
too.
my dad.
And he had just the custom every match with the custom tights and all
Yeah,
that
he's
stuff.
creative, man.
And I spent just as much time with Rick Rude as I did my dad. So
Real comment.
zero.
No.
But
comment.
what was the time on that match?
3 minutes.
4 minutes. Yeah, right at 4 minutes.
59.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's
so
just-
4 minutes, and
I
then
don't want to watch 59 seconds of a Jimmy Snuka match at all.
no, I just want to see him
No.
do a splash. I mean, that's all I need him to see, or do
Is he
one
part
of
of
the
the
cool chops.
bloodline? Snuka? No.
if
He
he is,
probably
they
got
did-
probably
they
got
probably booed
ostracized
him.
after the
is.
murder.
Yeah, they probably said,
kicked him
"Nah,
out.
we're good with him."
I mean,
Tamina
she
is.
was with the Usos when they first came.
But is she part of the bloodline?
I don't know if it was, I think they just anybody who was brown at the time.
Put them all over there in that faction.
That's the bloodline.
Vince McMahon is a
Hey,
piece
funny
of
what they
shit.
did.
Yeah.
Such a funny.
By marriage.
Vince McMahon is
By
a piece
marriage.
of shit.
That ain't funny,
So
man.
we come. So we're 14 matches in, and there hasn't been one wrestling match that's been a good wrestling match in this entire card. But everybody loves this WrestleMania. I still
We just
it
kids.
holds nostalgia.
It's
So
just,
much.
It's just
honestly,
we
'Cause you-
loved it so much as kids.
And you come to the final. You come to and look these promos. Hogan said something about when I get you down on your knees, Warrior,
Yeah.
and you breathe your last breath into me. It's like, what does that mean? And then of course, Ultimate Warrior. This was the most sane promo he ever cut, talking about joining the Hulkamaniacs and the Warriors, and it wasn't about
Is this
crashing
the-
airplanes
took
and
the
train
plane
wrecks and-
into a nosedive. Hulk.
No, it wasn't. I don't think it was. It may have.
Yeah.
Not at this, but this got 23 minutes. Right.
and
now.
neither.
Breathe their last
Title?
breath into it.
You gotta put that picture
Yeah,
up.
we'll put it up there. Pause, bruh.
Whoa!
But so
Test the
obviously, this was huge. Obviously, everybody was Ultimate Warrior. Everybody knew that
The good old
they were
test of
they were
strength.
the momentum was swinging towards Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
This was WrestleMania 6 in 1990. So
Oh, man.
you've seen the Warrior build up until this point,
Yeah. Red
and
hot.
then.
What led to this? Like, I'm trying to
Match
remember
was so bad,
the
though.
build up to
Royal
this
Rumble.
match. Who
Royal
won
Rumble.
Hogan won.
Hogan won the
the
Rumble.
Hogan won the Rumble. He eliminated the
Yeah.
Warrior. That's what
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah. Of course he won the Rumble. Hogan won the Rumble in 89.
And Hogan had to kick out.
He won the Rumble in 90 and
Oh
90.
yeah, he kicked. Yeah,
He
he
fucking
made sure to
prick.
kick out at the end of it.
He won the Rumble in 90 and
And
90.
then he said, "What if I was to walk in the ring and give him the WWF Championship?" And then I pause halfway up the ramp, and everyone's looking at me, like, "Just leave,
I hate
dog.
him.
Yeah.
Just
I hate him.
leave."
I hate him so
Yeah,
much.
so you get a 22 minutes of just wrestling.
I'm
holds.
going to leave so
Yeah.
I can go and record and no host bar.
Yeah.
It was.
But the pop that Warrior got.
Oh, well, it was
when
a-
he finally beat Hogan.
But
I think
like
it's the only
we
time
said,
they said he ever really shown like compassion. They said because he after the match they found him in like an empty room, just
Yeah.
boohoo and crying,
Yeah.
holding the title.
Yep.
It was 20 minutes of test of strength.
That's all it was for 22 minutes, bro. It was just test of strength.
double
and
clothesline.
Double clothesline. Then you, of course, you had
Worst
the
move ever, test of
splash.
strength.
You know, splash.
I mean, but he
Hogan,
did.
when he missed the leg drop, right? And then
Yeah.
Ultimate Warrior just no-sold it and got up
Yeah.
and hit him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean,
absolutely.
Warrior was
Like got up, immediate get up from
Yeah,
the
no
leg
sell.
drop.
He's the king of the no
Talking about Andre on his last days and talk about wrestlers who slammed Andre. All the dark matches and house show matches during that whole era was Warrior and Andre.
Yeah.
Warrior was just
And they acted like Andre hated Warrior.
They said he
but
did.
I'm
He
telling
did not like Warrior.
Yeah, he potatoed him a few times because he said,
Yeah.
quit, you know.
because I think because like you had said, Andre was on his last leg,
And he was too rough with him,
and
bro.
Warrior was quick, a lot of energy,
Yeah,
right?
he just
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
care about the other wrestlers. R.I.P., I guess.
and I
but-
don't think Warrior ever slammed Andre neither. I think
Slammed him
every
in
time they
single
went for
one
that
of- no.
spot, he failed.
No, he slammed him.
Did he?
Yeah, he slammed him several times on those house shows.
Yeah, I mean he.
It was probably Andre. Probably just like they're like Andre.
No,
we
yeah,
need
he
you to do
slammed- he
this. We
slammed
need you to
him,
do this.
though,
Let
yeah.
him do it.
Warrior to me was the easiest money grab for WWE at the time.
Oh,
Long
yeah.
time.
The look,
Yeah.
look.
Could you imagine if he wasn't just a selfish piece of shit? How big he could have been?
Oh, well, he would
how
probably.
big he already was, being a selfish piece of shit.
I'll say this though, like when he came back for his Hall of Fame induction and he was calling out what they were saying about him,
No,
he
he
says
realized.
it just wasn't true. Like, and nobody rebutted him. Nobody said, yeah. Like they just really was like, maybe we did mess up. I think it was.
It was a mixture of it all.
I think it was. They really try to bury him.
His ego too. He had a big time
No,
ego.
no, for sure,
Documentary,
for
they
sure,
buried him.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Oh yeah, the self destruction of the war. Oh, they went in.
I
on
saw
him.
I
held
saw a
Vince up, though,
contract,
bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
I saw a contract where they said he was coming back for the Attitude Era, which it wouldn't have worked long at all. But
No,
they
we
were
saw
offering
what-
him 5 years at $800 and something $1,000, and he was getting like a 30-something percent of his merchandise. And they made it a point to note in there that the other talent was only getting like 20-something percent of the merchandise because he wanted, hey, I'm a star, like I'm a big star. I want you all to pay me like I'm a big star. The worst part of Warrior ever was when he went to WCW. That was the
Oh, gosh,
biggest
it was
waste of
terrible.
time, money, and energy I ever seen in my entire
I
life.
always remember, like, at the end of, like, Coliseum home videos and stuff back in the day, it'd always be like, all rights belong to Titan Sports with the exception of Ultimate
Yep.
Warrior. And I always thought that
Yep.
stood out as a kid. And
Yep.
I would see that. I'm like, huh, interesting. So,
Yeah, I mean, smart business on his end
For sure.
to get his name trademarked or whatever. But they still was like, we own the intellectual property. But you also they buried him in that DVD.
God bless us. That's one of the few times I've ever seen McMahon cry because when Warrior died, McMahon cried.
That was so unexpected.
Was this one of Warrior's probably
Yeah.
longest matches ever?
Oh, I would imagine.
22
The-
minutes.
The next year, the Savage match was his longest match he ever had. Yeah,
I mean,
I mean,
that was his little sweet spot though. Like
Oh,
between 6, 5, and 7.
come in, hit your moves,
Yeah.
and you're out. And you're
I mean, I want to see
Yeah.
a Warrior with like face paint peeling. Like, don't get me wrong, I appreciate the honky tonk man like type matches where he comes in, he wrecks shit, and then he just leaves. But like,
The Hogan and Savage match were his two that he.
but this one,
I
man,
remember-
It wasn't good.
I
but it was
ripped up.
just-
I ripped
yeah.
up shirts and tied them around my arms.
Oh,
'cause it was
yeah.
such a-
Like I said, it was
course.
like the easiest money grab for them at that time.
Yeah.
They
Oh, yeah.
had to have people were tired of Hogan.
Yeah.
Like they were wanting something different, and it was the easiest go to.
Mhm.
He
It
was
worked.
over.
Yeah.
It worked.
So overall, from a nostalgia
Yeah.
standpoint, it would be 10 out of 10 from nostalgia. From a wrestling event, match for match, I mean, it'd be like a 4.
Yeah,
I
that's
was
what
about
I'd
to
say.
I was
yeah.
gonna say 5
Yeah.
to be generous.
Going
but
back
I don't-
and
I don't
watching
blame
this
you for
one,
it,
But just
it-
from a nostalgia, you
Yeah.
still love it because it's like it remind you tap into your
You're t-
10-year-old self, whatever we were when,
Yeah.
when this came out.
I mean, if
6.
you look at the longest
Yeah,
matches
8,
on
1990,
here,
yeah, 7. I
if
was
you,
saying.
were, if you were
I
to make
was-
this, if you were to make this like let's say 6 matches, like the longest matches on here, you'd have the Demolition match, you'd have the Brutus Beefcake match,
Give Brett and him some work, somebody to
you'd
work
have
with.
Roddy
Rockers.
Piper and Bad News Brown, and then you'd have Dusty Rhodes and Randy Savage. Those were the longest matches of the night.
Yeah. Give him 20. See, now that's what I'm saying.
That's something I like about
Oh, sorry,
nowadays.
DiBiase
the
and
way
Jake
they
Roberts
do
were
nowadays.
That'd
with
been your
only
co-main
doing 4
event
or
was
5.
DiBiase and Jake
Yeah.
Roberts. They got half the time as the main event. That would have been your co-main event.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, man,
That's
WrestleMania
ass.
6, it's nostalgic, but it's definitely
it hurt watching going back because it's been a couple years since I watched that
It was
one,
rough,
and
to
it
say the
was.
least.
I was like, man, this
Well,
is
you know,
rough.
The aftermath. I always like to look at the aftermath when I look at these. The aftermath was we got Perfect as Intercontinental Champion. He won the tournament, so that was a payoff. So you
Hogan
got,
losing's a payoff.
Yeah. Well,
This
and
is
then
true.
you would start Warrior and Rick Rude. That was iconic in a sense of like the tights, and I always loved Rick
Rude
Rude's
really
tights.
whooped his ass.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I really
Behind
liked
the
their
scenes.
rivalry. They had a
Yeah.
really dope cage match. I really
Yeah.
thought that was dope.
Like we said, you didn't mess. Rude was on that haiku level.
And then you got Hogan and Earthquake started their feud after that.
yeah, which we all know I wrote Hulk Hogan. When he was
Oh, yeah. He left. Hogan,
I love SummerSlam 90. I love SummerSlam.
Here we go. So the Earthquake Hogan thing happens after this, but that was to write him off so he can go film Suburban Commando.
Yeah, 100%.
I
100%.
was frozen today.
And just to show how big a piece of shit he was, he made everybody think that he was dead. That's why people like me wrote him. He was going to film fucking Suburban Commando.
with Taker.
yeah. That's first
Fuck
taker.
you, Hulk
You're a
Hogan.
dead man, Ramsey.
Yeah.
But dude, this is another fun one. Even though there's, looking back, it doesn't hold up what it did when we were kids.
But
But
it is
still,
fun going back and watching.
Of course, yeah.
Going back and watching these.
That's a
that I haven't
horrible
watched in a while.
pay-per-view.
It was
yeah,
bad.
I think we need to start knocking some SummerSlams out since it's coming around the corner.
Oh, yeah.
The new one.
Yeah.
Maybe the next couple we do are SummerSlams.
Yeah, pick a SummerSlam 90.
Whatever y'all want to do, I don't matter to me.
Time 90 it is.
All right
Yeah,
then.
y'all pick. Maybe we'll do a newer one so where we can get some.
Hey, SummerSlam 98 was boss. Just throwing
Yeah, it was Madison Square Garden.
Man.
Is that the one?
Yeah.
Yeah, with the
Place
ladder
Rock.
match and Rock and Triple H.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sit down.
Hey, WrestleMania 6 was $30 on pay-per-view.
$30.
Wow,
man. I'm
that's
sure they sold a
Was
ton
that
of 'em.
viewer's choice?
Yeah.
We had my uncle had the cheater
Yeah.
box back in the day. so
Oh,
yeah,
them
we
cheater
did.
boxes, boy.
Shout out to Tony's uncle.
I had to wait till video checkout had it 6 months later on VHS. But
Yeah.
man, y'all comment below. What do y'all think about this card? Did y'all like it, or were y'all Hogan or Warrior fans? And usually it's a divide.
It ain't Hogan.
Team Bolsheviks.
Team Paul Roma.
Fuck you, Paul Roma.
But yeah, man, appreciate everybody's support, man. And look forward to seeing y'all next week. I'm not sure what episode we're gonna be knocking out, but it'll be something cool for y'all.
Yep.
Hey, Chad,
Yeah.
hit that noise.
Hold on, we got to shout out. You're a little premature on that. We got to hit the sponsors first.
Oh,
Get the sponsors.
Trouble Spirits, Revolution One Media, the Gaggle of Wrestlers.
Now say it.
Hit that noise.
We have this motherfucker.